Hey guys, Ken Smith Fishing, world headquarters of Zavala, Texas. So I've got a lot of good things coming for you guys. This Thursday we'll have a Rayburn report. Got to spend a day on, actually, you know what, I'm gonna do this another way. This Thursday I'm gonna do my Toledo Bend report. I got to spend last Friday over on Toledo Bend, so we'll do Toledo Bend Thursday. And then next Tuesday we'll do a Rayburn report. Moon Pie and I got out Sunday. We had a great time. We caught a bunch of fish. You probably saw my Instagram post. If not, there's a link below to my Instagram account. Please sign. I've only got about 1,500 followers on Instagram, but Instagram's where I put more of my goofy stuff I really don't put on my YouTube channel quite so much. And there's more family stuff on there. There's a lot of fishing stuff on there. There's just goofy, funny stuff on Instagram. So check out my Instagram account if you're interested. And also I've got a TikTok account. I'll put a link down there. That's mostly boy stuff, but got a great video a week or two ago of Landon, my 1.5-year-old, in his Adidas tracksuit, rocking it out. So anyway, this video came to me. I've been thinking about something I saw posted online yesterday or the day before, probably the day before. And it's Josh Jones. Now, by the way, I do not know Josh Jones. I have never met Josh Jones. I don't have an opinion one way or the other of Josh Jones and what's happened with him online. I've heard stories. I don't really care. What I know is the dude obviously knows how to catch giant bass. I mean, I don't know how many fish over 13 pounds he's caught. I'm pretty sure I know of at least 3, all in the last year or two, mostly on Ivy. I first heard of him somebody sent me a clip of him and Jimmy Houston. I guess it was probably a Jimmy Houston show where he was literally trailing a fish, like a 6 or 7 or 8 pounder, on a lake in Oklahoma with Jimmy Houston and telling Jimmy, you know, we're going to catch this fish. And eventually they caught that fish. And I was just, that was real early in my live scope exposure. So I have watched some of his recent videos. He just posted a video the other day where he had 5 giant fish out of O.H. Ivy, and O.H. Ivy is a whole different conversation because it's a mind-boggling place too. I mean, it's a 19,000 acre lake that's low, and I think it might be a 12 or 14,000 acre lake right now. And somebody told me it churned out 3 more sharelunkers last week, which is just crazy. But the post that caught my attention was, and the comments from the post, Josh posted on his Facebook page. And by the way, the one connection point we do have is we're both 6th Sense guys. But he's neither here nor there. Like I said, I don't know him. I'd love to go fish with him just to learn what he's learned. But I don't know him, it doesn't matter. So he posted online that he had a 2-day cancellation for a trip on, I'm assuming it was on Ivy. I don't know that for sure. But he said from now on there'll be a $1,000 deposit, which frankly, probably shame on him for not having a deposit already. I suspect nobody had ever no-showed him before, but you can't block out. I mean, if you book a striper guide at Texoma, you're going to pay a deposit for one of those guys. And so I don't blame him a bit. If I was a guide, I would have absolutely a deposit where you had to pay it. And if you no-showed me, I got to stay home, but still got some pay for that day. Don't blame him for that a bit. But what was interesting to me was his comment was, I got 2 free days open at $2,000 a day. First person to reach out to me books that day. And man, it blew up below that of people just going crazy. Now, by the way, not all of them, but a bunch of people went crazy that the guy could charge or was charging $2,000 a day to take people bass fishing. I had heard he was $1,000 a day. And you know, most of the guys around Rayburn that are guiding for bass are $450 or $500 a day. But I got to tell you a couple things on this. Look, this is all supply and demand, right? If he can book 200 days a year at $100 a day, that's 200 grand of gross revenue, which he can't. I mean, I don't think he's booking through the summer, but let's just use that for numbers. But he can book 50 days a year at $2,000. That's the same money. Why wouldn't you charge more? Look, if you've got a product that people really, really want, and you're a business owner, and if you're a guide, you're a business owner, you ought to charge what you can get for it. And I actually chuckled at all the guys ripping on him about the comments. So I challenge you to do this. I just did this in the house a minute ago. Well, first off, La Perla, right? So if you don't know La Perla, it's a ranch in South Texas that they grow giant bass. And I may get my branches confused here, but I believe La Perla is where the guy is growing big prawn, which is a kind of a crawfish looking animal that he's feeding these fish. It's a super high protein. And I got buddies. My buddy Ken went down there several times. It was $1,500 a day. I looked at their website a minute ago. For 2-day minimum during the week, it's $3,700 a man plus lodging. And for the weekend, it's $4,000 a man. And oh, by the way, you can book an extra day for $1,500. So the bar's already been set, right? And according to my buddies that have been down there, it's not a guaranteed you're going to catch a 10-pounder, but it's pretty likely you're going to catch a 10-pounder. They're small pond, not small ponds, but they're ponds, captive fish, giant fish. They cull fish out of the ponds to smaller ponds. So there's only giants in a couple of those ponds, and I've never been, but that's my understanding. So we've already established guys will pay a ton of money to go down there and catch big fish. But what I really chuckled about was I entered into a Google search bar, I want to kill 180 class whitetail in Texas. And it went, and look at these two right here. So it seems pretty damn obvious that if you want to go kill 180 class whitetail deer in Texas, it's pretty easy to do. And they still charge you $9,500. And if you look at the notes, there's kill fees and there's lodging fees and all that stuff. I don't know the numbers of how many 180 class deer got killed or bigger in Texas last year, but I'll bet you it was more than 100. He's going to carry you over there and teach you how to catch a 10-pounder, and I'll bet you there's not teach you how, not guaranteed you do it, but teach you how. I would bet you there's not many more, certainly 200 class deer, but 10-pound deer than 180 class, 10-pound bass than 180 class deer killed in a year in Texas. So he's doing it on public water, and he's teaching you to do it. On those high fence ranch hunts, they're not teaching you to do anything. They're putting you in a box stand where they know that deer's going to walk out and you're going to get a shot. Now, look, hunters, don't go crazy. I know it's not that easy, but it's pretty easy. They're telling you they don't get paid unless you kill that big deer. You're going to kill a big deer while you're there. So if guys are willing to pay, let's just call it $10,000 to go shoot a great big deer, I'm going to say Josh Jones may still be underpriced at $2,000 a day if he has as much demand as it appears he has to go fish with him in Texas. And I got to tell you, the guy, and I wish I could remember the young man's name, the young man who just won the Toyota Championship last year, won it live scoping. And if you go back and listen to his interviews online about what he says, he says, in fact, I'll almost quote him directly here, Josh Jones taught me a lot about what I know about live scope, about how to track and catch those big fish. I mean, you can't get a much bigger endorsement than that, right? The guy who just won the Toyota Championship saying, this is a guy who showed me how to do this. And I'll tell you, my experience right now is, now I don't know for sure, but the BFL Saturday at Toledo Bend, 39 pounds won it and 31 pounds was second. And it only took 10 pounds to get a check. The Brandon Belt tournament that was won here was won, my understanding, by live scopers. Now, Danny and Brian, who just won the other 39 pounds that they had, I think, they were not live scoping, but it's become really obvious if you watch any of the national circuits, if you watch Dakota Ebert's just meteoric rise through tournament fishing over the last 24 months, he and Ron Sheffield's son, doggone it. I'm so sorry I can't think of his name right now. My mind's gone blank. I'm a 60-year-old man, and sometimes this happens. But Sheffield's son out of Arkansas is same thing, just a tremendous rise up through the ranks, all because he's really good using that live scope. So I think it's become real apparent if you're going to be a competitive fisherman going forward, not only do you have to have that, you got to be damn good with it. I have it. I am not that good with it yet. It is my sole focus this spring, become better and competitive. I know how to use the technology. I want to become good at technology where I can be competitive again in bass fishing. You saw it at Toledo Bend. The guys who are just going out there fishing, they didn't catch crap. The guys that are going out there and know how to use that technology, they're breaking records every weekend in Texas in these tournaments, and they're doing the same thing, catching those giant fish. So I guess what I'm saying here is I'm not only defending the guy for charging what he's charging down there, I'm saying he'd be crazy not to be charging what he's charging. And I'm going to suggest to you, it's probably going to go up because he's obviously booking those trips at a couple grand a day. Guys are paying $10,000 and $20,000 and $30,000 to kill a deer. Why not have a guy take you out and teach you how to catch a trophy bass in a day or 2 or 3 that you book him down there with the ability to do it that nobody else across the country seems to be able to do. So that's my 2 cents on it. I welcome y'all's comments as always below. I'm sure there are going to be some guys that say I'm crazy, but the numbers suggest to me that he's priced himself at least appropriately, if not still a little bit cheap for what you're getting out of one of those trips. And I guarantee you, there's days he goes out there and doesn't catch them. But I'd love to sit in that seat. I said it the other day in a video. I would give Dakota Eber $200 to sit in his driver's seat and let me watch him to see how he does that so I could get better at it. So that's my 2 cents on it. Thursday, Toledo Bend, next Tuesday, Rayburn. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It's just my opinion, but that's kind of where I am right now. And I'm going to get better with the live scope, so maybe I can charge $2,000 a day. I would be a guide if I could charge $2,000 a day. I tell you, I would run some trips every year, but I'm not a guide, but I appreciate you guys reaching out. And as always, if you're looking for a guide in East Texas, I'll direct you to somebody and they don't pay me anything. I just use guys that I know will put you on fish. So if you want to fish in East Texas with a guide, reach out to me and I'll be glad to connect you there as well. Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all soon.